believe what just happened. We have been, hi Jean, we have been talking away as if this, oh, let's done it again. We have been, hi Jean, we have been, uh-oh, I don't know why this doesn't.
Yeah, now I'm live.
So again, we have been talking as if we were live, realizing that he says, I can't see us on the stream. So, and I was saying, well, StreamYard had problems today, so let me just hook this back up. So so let's try this again.
All right.
Oh my goodness. So I pushed go live and we thought it was live, but it wasn't actually live. So Jean, welcome to the stream. Now, if you guys haven't met Jean before, we've done a live together before, and I'll leave it in the chat or in the description so you can check it out. And Jean, if you want to introduce yourself, and then we're going to watch a clip from the media announcement from the defense team. And then we'll say hi to some people in the chat as well, I think.
Yeah. So I'm Gene. Yellow Shirt Dad is my channel. I do the joke of the day, and I also do interesting places in Virginia. But mainly the joke of the day is my channel for right at the moment. But I'm going to try some other things. My channel for right at the moment. But I'm going to try some other things.
Yeah, we saw a nice live from you the other day, and what was it? A beaver dam.
Yes.
And being Canadian, I thought that was rather interesting.
Yeah, and I think it was a muskrat. It wasn't a beaver, but I couldn't figure out what it was. It wasn't a beaver, but I couldn't figure out what it was. But that's usually on my.
I can't get into the chat because I'm working. Oh, okay, yeah. So Heidi Cakes, well, thank you for at least watching. That's wonderful. And people, we are sharing this live stream. So if you see people that you don't see in my chat, it's because they're in Jean's chat. Okay. So like, hi, Bud Files, how are you? And we've got some other people in the chat. I know Lexi was there. She says she's liked and shared it, so thank you so much. And so Woman Outdoors, hi Jean. Now, so that might be from his chat.
That's from my channel.
That's from my channel. So if you see people you don't see in my chat, that's why. And we should have explained that when we share a live together. Okay. So hi. How do you say that name? Enriquez? Louise,
I guess. Louise, I guess.
Hello, and we've got Wayne's World in.
Yeah, Wayne's World.
Hello. And now, you see, I'm the only one that can share it. So that's quite interesting. And we've got Canadian Family Life in. Hello, hello. So, so what I'll do is we'll play the, we've got Joeybklyn in the chat. Hello, hello. If you haven't checked out his channel, please do. And Jean, you might want to put his link in for everybody, because Joey does some amazing live videos, very relaxing and wonderful. So if you haven't checked out him, and anybody in the chat that wants to leave their link, they can. And we've got Dr. Patrice in the house as well. And I'm going to show you that Dr. Patrice Berry and I are going to be doing a live next Saturday, which I'll tell you all about at the end of this stream. So, okay, to get us started, I think it's best if we listen to the announcement, the media report by Alex Murdoch's legal team. So I'm gonna. Can
Okay,
everybody
so-
hear
okay,
that?
so-
Okay, put a 1 in the chat. You can hear it.
What? Yeah. I'm going to read it, and then we'll answer questions.
Jim Griffin and I filed a
Today,
petition
Jim
based
Griffin and I
on newly
filed a
discovered
petition
evidence
based
with
on
the
newly
South
discovered
Carolina Court of
evidence
Appeals
with
to
the
stay
South Carolina Court of Appeals
Alex
to stay
Murdaugh's
Alex
appeal
Murdaugh's
while a hearing is
appeal
held
while a hearing
on a
is
motion
held on a motion for
for
a new trial.
Currently, we've sent a request to the South Carolina U.S. Attorney
to open a federal investigation into the violation of Alex Murdaugh's civil rights.
The
The
allegations in the petition filed today speak for themselves, but we believe they explain a number of peculiarities in the 6-week trial. We request that SWED stand down on initiating any investigation of these allegations, since they are heavily invested in maintaining Alex's convictions. We suggest they wait for the Court of Appeals to rule and receive direction from the trial court. If the Court of Appeals remands the case for an evidentiary hearing, if the Court of Appeals remands the case for an evidentiary hearing, we would also request that those in the media and the public respect the privacy of those included in this filing.
Okay,
Jim and I want to thank those on our team who stand behind us and work.
Can we just pause this for a minute, because we are getting a few people that are saying
Yeah,
that
that's
they
here double.
are getting
double.
they're hearing double. So Jean, do you have a sound on or anything like?
No, I don't have any sound on. I have a couple of tabs open, but they're not on my channel.
Someone needs to mute. I can hear it on mine. So someone needs to mute, Joey says. So can you mute yours? Because everything feeds from my stream.
Well, if I can mute here.
Yeah, so mute your, what if I just mute your mic until you want to talk? Will that work?
I can unmute, but I think, do you have any other tabs open playing the same thing?
No,
Because I don't
I
know.
just have one. Okay, so I'll just mute you while we're watching. Oh, odd. Okay, so shall we try this again? Just put a 1 in the chat if it's better.
Ferret out the truth. Maintained and still maintains his innocence in the murder of Maggie and Paul, and believes the truth will always prevail. Jim?
The right to a jury trial, is a fundamental principle of our justice system. Jurors must be free from outside influences and must decide the case solely on the evidence presented in the courtroom, subject to the rules of evidence, subject to the rules of the court, and most importantly, subject to the crucible.
We tend to think that our spirit is in our body. That's actually not correct. Your body is in your spirit. I've been working the world of energy for 20 years, so.
Crucible of guaranteed by the Sixth Amendment to the Constitution, and that is the right to confront witnesses. When jurors receive private communications outside the confines of a public courtroom, the Sixth Amendment is violated and numerous other constitutional rights are violated. And that's not Jim Griffin on the law, that is the law of the land. And I want to quote from a decision from the South Carolina Court of Appeals, which is behind me, and it states this: where there is a private communication of a court official to members of the jury, an occurrence which cannot be tolerated if the sanctity of the jury system is to be maintained, a new trial must be granted unless it clearly appears that the subject matter of the communication was harmless and could not have affected the verdict. What we had filed today, supported by sworn testimony of jurors, is that the clerk of court had improper private communications with the jurors, and the subject matter of those communications was the credibility of the defense, that the Murdoch legal defense team put up, and it was the believability of the defendant's own testimony. Now, there's been a lot of talked about whether Alex should have taken the stand. I can assure you, when we considered what factors and what we should and should not do and considered whether he should take the stand, we never considered the likelihood, as reported to us by the jurors, that the clerk of court would go in to the sanctity of the jury room before he testified and tell the jurors, don't be fooled by his testimony, watch out for his body language, and that is what the sworn testimony that we have filed in court today says. And if that is true, which we have every reason to believe that it is, and no reason to believe that it's not, there's no choice but the courts to grant a new trial.
Thank you. Any questions? No?
So, now we've got, so I don't know if everybody can hear that, but what they were saying is that, they found out that there was some jury tampering. So did everybody hear that? Because I may have to rewind it. There's echo. The echo is back, and that's because I think it's because I've put my mic back on, Joey. So yeah, so there it is there. So I think we'll have to keep going back and forth with the mic off. So they're now taking questions. And so let's listen to those and then we'll chat. Okay, so if I put that back on and mute myself.
Okay. Well, I think we observed it. We did. No, I was there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was there. I watched it. But I mean, look, we were not looking to impute any nefarious conduct. But what the jurors reported to us, that they were off talking, the forelady and the clerk. I saw them together, but you know, I wasn't watching. Look, I've been doing this almost 50 years. The bedrock of any trial, and I've done hundreds of them, is that the clerk of court is the person that makes sure the jury gets their food. If they're put up night, someplace to stay, their travel accommodations are met. They're not someone that ever should talk to them about the case. I've never had it happen. Again, I've been doing this for a very long time. Never heard of it happening until this case.
And one thing we want everyone to understand, that the clerk of court is an elected official by the people, not appointed by the judge, not appointed by the judiciary. It's a public official who's elected and is an independent state actor.
Job done. Perfect. So we have a beautiful 31,793.32.
Okay, so we keep getting commercials in this, which is kind of annoying. So I found another, so okay, everybody's saying they can hear everything, so that's good. That's good to know. So when you're listening to this, I want you to understand that in the USA, a juror must be free from any outside influence, okay? And in the UK, a jury must be, a jury tampering, they have to be independent, or independent of making their own decisions, or if there is anything that may appear to compromise their independence. So to me, it would clearly be if the court of clerk was talking to some jurists and not to others, or even about the case, because you're not allowed to talk about the case until you're in deliberations. Okay, so now let's put Jean back on. So they're also saying that she's written a book, and if you want, I don't know if you guys have seen the book review. We can't get it in the UK.
Yeah, I don't know what the book is. I haven't looked it up.
You haven't looked it up. So the book is on Amazon in the United States, okay? And Green of Justice, the court clerk wrote this book, okay? Now, if I can, I'm going to stop sharing that screen, and I'm going to show you, if you haven't seen her book yet, I'm going to share a screen, and so the one thing I wanted to look at first is she has, where is it? No, that's not the right one. So if I do this, do you guys get to see this screen? I think this is why it's a practice here. So I can't see it. Sorry about that. It's okay. Okay, now I've got 3 of them open. Okay, so if I now present this screen to you, I should be able to. Oh my goodness. Share. Oh boy.
Is not sharing it out, or
Okay, so can you guys see that screen? No, I don't think you can.
no, I don't. No, I don't.
Okay, oh, I see. It's still loading. That's why. For some reason, it's still loading. I did that. There was a bit of a delay YouTube was dealing with today, because I was watching Nick Bins today, and he was having the same problem. So
Oh wow! I wonder if it's
in my screen. It's just scrolling around. So that's why you probably can't see it, because it has. So.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I don't know if you guys, because it says you can. We can listen to it. That's the thing I want to show you, because it's quite interesting. So now, see, it hasn't come up yet. Okay. I know what to do. Copy link. This is a bit of a mess, as usual. Once we get the hang of it, it'll be fine. Okay. So there, that's gonna work now. Okay. I can see it now. It's gonna make a big difference. So, okay, can you guys see the screen? No.
No.
I have to share tab.
No.
I got it! Yay! Okay, that hope it was worth the wait. Can you see it now?
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, there it is.
You can see it now. Okay. So, and guess what? Can you see it?
Yep, I can see it. I've got the behind
Yes.
the doors of justice, the Murdoch.
No, Joey, it's on there now. Okay, what the cool thing is that we can't get it in England, but let's listen to the review.
Just ahead in the line of vehicles was also Judge Newman, his law clerk Gabby, and his law enforcement detail. Leading the procession were the 2 jury vans, which were driven by law enforcement officers and included a bailiff in each van. Once we arrived, time stood still. It was eerily quiet. Everyone remained silent, almost as if we all were waiting to hear the whispers in the wind of Maggie and Paul. Each juror was quietly lost in thought, working out in their minds everything they had heard the past 6 weeks inside the courtroom. They were there to experience Moselle, to see it, feel it, touch it, smell it, and come to their own conclusions of what happened that fateful night on June 7, 2021. The Murdoch Moselle property is 1,772 acres of land, which includes a 5,275 square foot custom-built home with a southern farmhouse motif, an 1,140 square foot guest cabin, an airplane hangar, dog kennels, and sheds. It includes 2.5 miles of river frontage and plenty of space for hunting wildlife and fishing. The Murdoch family had acquired the property from their friends, the Bullwares, in 2013, and Alec transferred the ownership of the entire property to his wife, Maggie, for $5. They hired many people to help maintain it, including a housekeeper, groundskeepers, and more. It was said that Maggie had permanently moved to their home on Edisto Beach after the boat accident involving her son, Paul. Things in Hampton County were not good for Maggie or Paul after the boat crash, and it seemed like judgment loomed heavy over them for what had happened. Maggie chose to retreat to Edisto and find solace there. I've heard that Paul was still Paul and didn't change all that much after the accident. He did keep up the Moselle property and helped his uncle, John Marvin, as much as possible. After the guilty verdicts against Alec, the Moselle property was sold and turned into a hunting lodge. As we entered the sprawling estate, beautiful, even though it was not meticulously maintained as it once was, there was a quiet reverence that descended upon us all. As we walked the property, past the dog kennels, the small shed, the doghouse, and the quail pen, the breeze began to blow, and it was noticeably different from when we left the courthouse, just 25 minutes before. As mentioned in a previous chapter, Wall Street Journal reporter Valerie Bauerlein was allowed to visit the Moselle property with us. She was the one reporter responsible for being the public's eyes and ears at Moselle, and she really captured the feeling and the scene in her report. Here are some of her observations. The property was a heavy place to visit, and noted the feed room felt haunted. The bird song is constant and beautiful. The sky is still overcast. The grass on the property is tall, and the shrubs outside the caretaker's cabin are bushy and overgrown. The property has stood vacant for 20 months. Some items seem to be left where they fell, including a deflated football behind the kennels and a tube of sanitizing wipes in the shed. There is a yellow hose wrapped haphazardly in the spot described by Roger Dale Davis, the caretaker for the dogs. There are no animals in the kennels. She even described the interior of the feed room. The back window remains, and the bullet holes are large and cracked around the edges. As we viewed the property, I noticed a group of us were walking toward the well-built rows of narrow red dog kennels and the feed room, and behind that was a fenced-in pen for quail and other birds. Just as we were standing upon the ground where Paul and Maggie would have shared their last final moments of life, we felt the wind whip around us, as if to say that something wicked, something sinister and violent and unfair had happened here. We imagined the bodies of Maggie and Paul as they must have lain there that summer night on this same sandy ground, where we were standing. At that moment, Moselle may as well have been a cemetery. I vividly remember the brown, unkempt grass and the sound of footsteps as different jurors were checking distances in their minds by going from point A to point B to...
Okay, so I got to remember to put our mics back on. And so that's a little bit about the book. So I have another screen to share, and I'm almost afraid to share it. But I suppose. So she's done, that's the clerk of the court, Becky Hills, and the book obviously is called Behind Closed Doors.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of chatter. Not only was she, you know, discussing things with the jurors, but she's obviously making money off of all of this. So Jean, I don't know if you want to give some of your thoughts, and I'll remove some of this stuff so that we don't get
Yeah, the only thing about it is it I guess legal to write a book on a trial after it's been done. I would feel like if somebody did that I didn't get a fair trial. I mean,
well, like for example, when I worked for the for the solicitor's office, we actually signed something to say we wouldn't talk about anything that went on at work, right? So you have to sign confidentiality clauses, and I'm sure other professionals in the chat will understand how, you know, that affects, you know, I'm sure, like some of the stuff she says about the judge. Now, I do want to play, because in the media coverage that the defense solicitors had, they were saying that there's nothing here that Judge Newman did wrong. So I want to show you that. Now, if I try this again, okay, share screen, and then I have to
let's see.
Mute us again. Here, I'm muting us. But I did a video on this. So if I share this, I hope that comes out right. And if I go to my shorts and I did a video of the judge being interviewed, and if we find it here. Okay, so here it is here. So once I play it, I've got to mute us, right? So that you guys can hear it. So
here, I have to ask, I watched the sentencing, and this was a person who practiced.
have you ever wondered?
Here, I have to ask, I watched the sentencing, and this was a person who practiced law in front of you. Did that make it any more difficult for you as the judge sentencing him after you knew him and he practiced in front of you?
If you want to hear what I said about Judge Newman, the defense's closing argument, the jury's speedy decision, and what it all means for justice, go to Legal Minded Friends YouTube channel, playlist True Crime. And if you want to hear what Judge Newman had to say, you will find a direct link in the description area of our YouTube.
Ask, I watched the sentencing, and this was a person who practiced law in front of you.
So is that still?
Did that make it any more difficult for you as a judge?
Okay, so okay, so is that stopped now?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, it
so
stopped.
I thought that was rather interesting that the judge has been going off and doing interviews as well. So I don't know if, you know, if the clerk would be in any kind of trouble. Yeah, I love Judge Newman as well. Here, let's show that on the screen. Okay, so let's show that on the screen. So supposedly she checked in and was told that it was okay as long as nothing improper happened. I mean, I think her book actually, what the defense has alleged, like she's saying when they went to Moselle, they all the jurors looked at each other and she said, I knew they knew that he was guilty or something like that. So I think that's a bit worrying. And
I'm wondering if that's what she actually talked to them about. I think the main lawyers were worried that he talked about the trial to the jurors. So
yeah, and I mean there were people saying that in the affidavits there were, I guess, 6 smokers on the trial, and they were told they couldn't go out for a cigarette until they came up with a verdict. I mean, I did a video on how quick the verdict was as well, so you can check out that. And now, Yellow Shirt Dad, did you have a joke for us about smoking? Because we've got to have a little bit of, you know, laughter in this, because you know, if all this is true, this is very serious for justice.
What do ducks smoke? Quack.
Quack. What do ducks smoke? Quack.
What do ducks smoke? Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And then on that,
did you want to show one of the jokes from your channel?
Oh, I'd have to bring that up. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So we won't.
Feedback, so.
Oh, okay. We won't do that. Okay. Did you have another one you wanted to say?
Yeah. What do fish smoke?
What do what?
What do fish smoke? Seaweed.
I don't know. But Joey might know. Wait, Joey might know.
Oh.
What did they smoke?
Seaweed.
Seaweed. Oh, that's good. Okay. Oh boy, that was funny. So yeah, so this one lady, she was kicked off the jury because she was known as the egg lady, okay? And she wanted to come back and get her eggs because they were too expensive. So, but supposedly she had delivered a fridge, and the renters that said that she was talking about the case. So they let the court know, and the judge said that's why she was kicked off the jury. But the defense is alleging that the clerk found a Facebook page from this juror's ex-husband, okay? And it was saying that they had been out drinking or something, and then she was saying that, you know, talking about the case. When they looked into it, so the defense looked into it, and he didn't post anything on Facebook, and the juror, the egg juror, is saying that she told the clerk that, you know, she said, well, could I see the Facebook page? And they couldn't produce it. So they did have a hearing on that, and I guess the judge found that there was nothing, you know, wrong with anything that took place. But what's interesting is that the egg lady said that the clerk told her that Sled had interviewed him, and he's saying that he wasn't interviewed. So one of the allegations is that she made up this whole story to get her off the, you know, off being a jury. And you guys, I have my my baby right here. So if you see me trying to be careful, it's because I've got my grand puppy with me. So I was going to set up a puppy cam, but yeah, I didn't have a chance. So yeah, so okay, so we've got people being told they can't have a cigarette until you know until they make a decision. We know they made a very quick decision. We've got the clerk saying in her book, to me, that is very you know, damning, is that she said as soon as we went to Moselle, we knew there, you know, it was clear. So I think that alone is, I mean, even by the and if people were new here, I did say the in the UK, jury tampering is when jurors are not independent to make their own decisions, like, you know, and if there's any, if it appears that there's tampering, or, you know, that they've been compromised, then in the UK, the judge, if the trial has already ended and the person has been convicted and sentenced, right? Then it doesn't go back to our trial judge to decide. If it happened within the trial, then our judges can decide. But in America, they're saying that the judge, in this case, will look at everything again.
That's everyone wants to ask me is like, how much power does a clerk of the court have? I mean, what can they really do?
Yeah,
I would think that you'd want to be with the jury. You want to make them as comfortable as possible. You want to make them be able to do what they need to do, instead of saying, "Oh, no smoke breaks for you until we do this, until you come to a verdict." That's not right to me.
Well, I know in the UK, when people go in, so in the UK, if it is a long trial and the jury is all together, even then they're not allowed to talk about the case. They could talk about anything else, but you know, they're not really supposed to be talking about the case. So now, what is Dr. Patrice Berry saying? Also been told that they have had to stay at a hotel that night, but we're not able to go home, which should have come from the judge. If it's, yeah, so I did hear that they didn't know, they hadn't brought clothes or anything to go to a hotel. So they were told by the clerk that if they didn't finish by 11 or something like that, around that time, forgive me if it's wrong, but they were told that they wouldn't, that they would have to go to a hotel, and none of them brought anything for, you know, to go to the hotel. So and she's saying that should have come from the judge. I mean,
I would think it would come from the judge, but I don't know too much about the laws and things like that.
Well, I really think the clerk is really just to keep them comfortable, make sure they've got food. If there is a hotel, the judge, I would have thought, would bring them back into court, or, you know, say, look, have you all not reached a verdict yet? Because we're gonna get, and then they would say, yes, we need more time. I would think that's the way it would happen. And so I think you're absolutely right.
I think that's what the defense lawyers were asking the jurors after the fact, like, what went on. Did she talk about the trial? Because I don't think you're the clerk. You can't talk about the trial to the jury members.
Yeah. Now, has anybody seen the interview she's done on? Now, if I can get it up. Oh. Okay, so has anybody put a 1 in the chat if you've seen her interview on, I'm trying to find the story that where she was interviewed. Has anybody seen the clerk being interviewed on
Yeah, I've seen it, but I can't remember the channel name that had that interview.
Yeah, it was it was in the news. So no, okay, not yet. So that might be worth finding. Jean, can I leave you to chat with some of your ideas, and I will find, because I just had it, I just sent it to myself so that we could play it. So I'll remove me and just keep you solo there.
Yeah, so everybody wants to tell me in the chat there, have y'all seen this trial? Have you seen what's been going on? And that's mainly when the defense attorneys came out and talked about how they thought the clerk of the court had too much, or was talking to the jury members too many about the trial. So I don't know if anybody, how many of y'all have seen that or not?
Yeah, we've got some people that have seen it, but we've got a few that haven't. So,
and I know they went out to Moselle. I guess that's the house, but I'm not sure if that's what it is or not. I know that some juries can go to see the scene of the crime.
they what? Sorry. Okay, so here's one on Court TV. She responds, and this was only 3 days ago. So if I put that there and let it get ready, and then hopefully I can. Okay.
Having issues with your webinars, wasting tons of time on troubleshooting with attendees. If so,
I guess this is why you have to buy no ads. Okay, so if I've got it, you guys, I've got it. Yeah, so I have found this. So this is good experience for screen sharing. Now I'll just let that, can you guys see that? Yeah? Okay, so if I just let that play till the music goes off.
I'm Vinny Politan. Thanks for joining us tonight. What a night. What a night, right? Oh, my goodness, what is going on tonight? You know, I've covered stories through the years involving allegations of jury tampering, and it's always been, they call them the Teflon Don. Why? Because they always got to the jury. They always got to the jury. So when you talk about someone trying to influence a juror in the middle of a case, I mean, from my perspective, it's always been the other side. Tonight, we're talking about not someone from the prosecutor's office, but as we discussed last hour with a bunch of angry defense attorneys, but rightfully so, if this stuff is true, if is the big word, you've got someone from the government who knows you're not supposed to talk to the jury about the case that they're hearing. The court clerk. And what we're talking about here is Becky Hill. So today, the attorneys for Alec Murdaugh got together on the steps of the courthouse down in the low country, South Carolina, and talked about some of their allegations against Becky Hill and why Alec Murdaugh did not get a fair trial and deserves a new one.
Alex Murdaugh maintained and still maintains his innocence in the murder of Maggie and Paul, and believes the truth will ultimately prevail. Jim?
When jurors receive private communications outside the confines of a public courtroom, the Sixth Amendment is violated, and numerous other constitutional rights are violated. And that's not Jim Griffin on the law. That is the law of the land. And I want to quote from a decision from the South Carolina Court of Appeals, which is behind me, and states this: where there is a private communication of a court official to members of the jury, an occurrence which cannot be tolerated if the sanctity of the jury system is to be maintained, a new trial must be granted unless it clearly appears that the subject matter of the communication was harmless and could not have affected the verdict. What we had filed today, supported by sworn testimony of jurors, is that the clerk of court had improper private communications with the jurors, and the subject matter of those communications was the credibility of the defense that the Murdoch legal defense team put up, and it was the believability of the defendant's own testimony. Now, there's been a lot of talked about whether Alex should have taken the stand. I can assure you, when we considered what factors and what we should and should not do and considered whether he should take the stand, we never considered the likelihood, as reported to us by the jurors, that the clerk of court would go in to the sanctity of the jury room before he testified and tell the jurors, don't be fooled by his testimony, watch out for his body language. And that is what the sworn testimony that we have filed in court today says. And if that is true, which we have every reason to believe that it is, and no reason to believe that it's not.
Are you still using Google? And I have something to show you.
Okay, so they've just gone to a commercial break, so we'll let that, I think I can forward it. And then I believe she's going to be speaking in a minute. So, yeah, so we should hear that in a second. Okay, so we go back to that.
There's no choice but the courts to.
Earthquake centered down there in the low country, shaking all of us who followed this case. What's your reaction to what you heard from the defense today?
I was shocked. I worked with Becky for 6 months as both a friend and a colleague on the book. And we've had many discussions in writing the book about any kinds of conversations that she would have had with anybody associated. As Harpootlian mentioned, I mean, she has many different tasks. She's got to work with the judge, the media, the public, dealing with the food, dealing with defense attorneys and so forth. And very little with the jury. I mean, there is a chief bailiff that keeps their eyes on the jury at all times, and there's very little contact.
So in preparing this book, were there any conversations that you had with Becky about conversations she had with jurors during the course of the trial, including the foreperson who the defense is saying there were private conversations, allegations that they're on the Moselle property and they walked off together? They may have had a conversation in the jury room bathroom.
Well, Vinny, all that I know and that we put in the book, you mentioned Moselle. There was an order from the judge for there to be silence. There was no conversation to be had. So I asked her and said no conversation was had. We talked about a couple of different things. If you meet Becky, you know that she's a very spiritual person, and she mentioned that the jury was very prayerful. It was mentioned to her that they prayed often. Becky prayed often with her staff and all. And I asked her directly, I said, did you ever pray with the jury? And she said, oh, no. No legal entity is allowed to have prayer with the jury. So, you know, it was very clear to me that there was a line there.
Okay, now.
Okay, so what did he just say? He said that there was no praying in the jury. Do you remember that guy that was talking that did one of the first jurors that came out. Sorry. There. Do you guys remember the first juror that came out, and he said they all prayed together, and so that's a direct conflict right there. Do you guys remember that when he went on the news? And
that's the whole thing is what I'm thinking about is what did they really talk about?
Yeah, because I did a video on that too, but I didn't put that part of the clip in where I think he was with two other ladies that were on the jury, and it was a young man, and I think his brother was one of the police officers on the stand, if I remember, and they said they prayed. So yeah, that's and this guy just, I don't know, what do you guys think? That sounds
I think it's been tarnished. I gotta agree with Joey on that one.
So yeah, shall we keep listening to it? Is it good? You guys want to keep listening to it? Are you happy to one in the chats to keep on, or do you want me to
everybody
leave?
what do you think? What do people in my chat think about it so far? Have you looked at it or heard about the trial?
Yeah. So let's listen to a bit more, and then I have to mute us.
It's unusual. I've been doing here at Court TV for a long time. I don't know if I've ever seen a book written by the clerk of the court after one of these big trials. I've seen them written by the attorneys on both sides, and sometimes they got in a little trouble for that. I've seen plenty of them written by jurors in states that Becky had to get together with you to write this book. And was this the master plan before the trial started? Was it plotted that this was going to be the big retirement nest egg?
So in love relationships, the best way to use energy is to
Oh, I don't know about that. I didn't actually meet Becky until 3 weeks after the trial.
Till after?
My wife, 3 weeks after the trial, my wife took TV and they had trouble working. She decided to go with a colleague, Addie Strozier, to Walterboro to actually watch the trial. She had a chance meeting with Becky the day that the vans were leaving to go to Moselle. In fact, I remember what was said was that there was, Becky was actually making sure that people did not get pictures of the jury. That's how intent she was on that. And so Melissa mentioned to Becky, took a selfie and then reached her out, 3 weeks later, and said, hey, do you mind if I use this in a coffee table book? And Becky said, this has been the trial of the century, and I'm thinking about it. I just don't know how to go about it. And so they brought me.
Okay, I just wanted to stop it there for just 2 seconds. Did you hear what he just said? That she's saying she's obviously thought about writing this book, and she wanted photos of it. Yeah, so supposedly that was after, but do you think it's a good idea that he's talking? Because now whatever she is going to say, it could really be a problem for her, because I'm sure there's going to have to be an investigation into this. So
I'm sure there would be.
Should he be talking about what she said to him?
Yeah, I don't know. I know that the clerk of courts here are public appointed officials, so could they have her removed, or is she going to be able to do another trial?
Well, I just think, you know, he shouldn't be talking. Okay, let's just play the rest of this. It's not very long.
In as a constantly liked her, and as you held up the book behind the doors of justice, you're right. No clerk of court has ever really written a book to just a trial situation is, and how reverent you have to be to the truth and to law. And I got to tell you, you asked my reaction. I was pretty upset at what Harpootlian said was the motivation that Becky had. Last time I checked, Simon & Schuster did not send us a check for $200,000. The Gordons and the Hills put up $30,000 of our own money because we felt this was an interesting story to tell. So right away, Vinny, for that to be motivation for her to get a book deal is completely false right there.
So what you just explained to me is that you're in the negative on this.
We self-published.
You self-published.
We self-published.
So that means you didn't get the big advance, none of that.
No.
Okay.
Okay, now I think it's a good time to bring in this a review that was done on the book, okay? Because I thought this was rather interesting. That this review, okay, so, and the defense in their media coverage, right? They said the book is terrible, it's awful. So this is a review from, okay, so from beginning to end, here is the true story of Alex Murdaugh double murder trial from the courthouse insider, who witnessed it all and more. That was from Nancy Grace. And some others said this book is not only historically significant, it is well written and a treat. Pull up a comfortable chair and be prepared to stay there until the last page is read. So that is Rona Rich, a best-selling author. Another one says, this inside view really gives the reader insight into what went on in the trial of the century. What a brutal, a brilliantly written publication. So we've got some saying that it's, you know, brilliant. We've got others saying it isn't. She does talk about in the book how their family, that she knew the Murdoch family, and you know, and that so I didn't even know how to be a clerk if she knew the family.
Yeah, how could you know the family? And wouldn't that be what do you call it? Like if you're I don't know.
Yeah,
you get too much information. I mean, you know too much about it.
Yeah. So we've got a you know, Dr. Patrice Berry says, I wonder if they paid for a few of those reviews. I think they would have to disclose if she was paid an endorsement. Yeah. I mean, she put 30,000 pounds of her, or dollars of her own money in. That seems a bit, okay, we've got another comment. I feel Buster knew what was happening. I don't know. I mean, that's getting into the trial stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know, that's another whole ball game. Yeah. So, I mean, I just wonder, like, so if in the back of her mind, she's having this, I'm going to write a book, you know.
Well, she has to.
She has to.
It's self-published, yeah. For less than 5K. But didn't he just said they put something like 30,000 into it?
I think it's 30,000.
30,000.
Okay, let's go back. I just wanted to stop it there. Okay, so now I have to mute my.
We advanced a check for $30,000. You know, you got attorney fees, you got to get set up on Amazon, you got to print so many copies, liability insurance, editors, you name it. But we felt it was a story that should be told. I mean, in my lifetime, I'm 59 years old. I don't know that there will ever be another trial like this. And it was my honor and pleasure to work with somebody with such integrity and character as someone like Becky Hill. Did you interact with her? I know that you were there.
I was there. I did not. Some of our staff had the opportunity to do that. And you said another trial like this in our life. Well, we're hoping there's not going to be another one like this, because that's what the defense wants, is an exact repeat of the trial. Obviously, they want a different ending to the whole thing. Have you spoken to Becky today after all of this has become public?
Finding the right place to call home is hard. It's either too old or too expensive, and there's almost always some sort of compromise.
Very briefly, as you might imagine, she's had calls off the hook from media outlets. And as much as she'd like to make a statement, these allegations are so deep that she has hired counsel and they're going over them. But I am told they are going to put out a statement in the near future. And one thing I know about Becky Hill, she will answer each and every one of these allegations truthfully. She's one of the most genuine people I know, and it made me sick seeing this played out on national TV, and I just felt like I needed to speak out.
You know, and again, I've prefaced everything.
So, are we happy to keep listening to this? I mean, it's quite shocking, everything that he's saying. I don't know how you feel, Jean.
Yeah, I just
want to keep listening to it. It's I mean, this is the first I've heard of it, because the one I saw, I don't know if she was, you know, just talking about how she knew the Murdochs, you know, in their families in the 1950s had some, you know, moonshine thing going on or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be like a conflict of interest to me. If she knew all that, and here comes the trial, you need to remove yourself. That's why they ask you questions when they're looking for jury members. Do you know the defendant or the plaintiff? Do you know this, that, and the other? And I guess they could still have them on the jury, but
I mean, the other thing is, in England, you're not allowed to actually talk about what other jurists said. So I don't know if it's the same way in America, because I just know the judge says you are free, you know, at the end of a hearing in America, they just say you're free to talk to anybody if you want to, right? But are they allowed to tell what other jurists said? Because that guy he was saying what other jurists said on national television. Okay, Joey, that's great. You know, so that's a big thing in England. You're not allowed to say what was said in deliberation. Yeah. And a lot of places, wasn't it with the O.J. Simpson case? Do you remember that man that took copious notes, and they tried to take his notes away even?
yeah, well, they won't even let you do anything.
So, okay, we've
most
got a
courts that
comment.
I've been to, if you're in the audience, you can't sit there on a phone. You can't write notes. You can't even play games on your phone.
You can't even play games on your phone.
Yeah. And so Heidi Cakes is saying that trial was horrendous. I don't think I would want to read about it. Some people love that stuff. I can't get enough. What a mess. I can't. Yeah. I mean, I'm the same way. I don't really like if something is like what's it called when you're talking about other people, you know, it's just, you know, hearsay
hearsay,
and gossip, you know. I mean, when she said everybody in the book, it actually does say that. She says, after we went to Moselle, everybody's eyes just looked at each other like we knew then, right? We knew then. And that to me, maybe that's, you know, if everybody
exactly when you said we, that's almost like she's on the jury. And that's not right.
But it says that in the book though. So are you guys, do you guys want to finish this rest of it? I don't know. Joey's driving, but I can leave it in the description area, but I don't think there's that much left, but there might be a whole bunch of commercials. I think that's when you have, if you're going to show a lot of stuff, you have to get it without the commercials. So, I mean, I think no matter what she's already said in the book is enough, in my opinion, for jury tampering.
I think so.
But she's talking about what she felt. And if it's, well, obviously, if it's true, right? About the smoking, about not being able to smoke and that they'd have to come to a decision. I think we would call that irregularities. Okay. So if there's irregularities that happen, then we need to look into that. And some other people were saying, well, would she have done this to any other trial? Right. So if other jurists want to speak out, but I think the main thing was that that another irregularity, in my view, was that the jurors were separated, men in one room and women in the other. I thought that was a bit strange as well.
Yeah, and see, I didn't know that the clerk could do that. I mean, or authorize that.
Yeah, and if she did say things like, you know, don't listen to what he's saying when he comes up on the stand, you know, don't be fooled. So what I've been hearing, you know, on the interwebs is that, let's say these three people, you know, verify their affidavit and they come into court and they, you know, they speak about it. But what happens if the other jurors say they didn't know? Because if they were in another room, they may not have known. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was a bit strange, separating them based on gender.
Yeah, see, that to me is like you're already trying to control the outcome. And I don't know why. If I was on that jury, I would stand up and say something. But
and didn't he say that young guy, when he was interviewed, he said, we all took really good notes and had questions, but by the end, we had answered them all, but they didn't discuss it.
Yeah.
That's what kind of bothers me, is that they didn't discuss it. So, so I will leave a link to that conversation with the guy that helped her to write the book, unless everybody is okay and we want to listen to the rest of it, because I'm happy either way. Jean, are you happy?
Well, I'm happy, yes.
So we've got
this
Norway.
is good, yeah. This is good, yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to listen to the rest as long as we have commentary. So if everybody wants to let us know where you're from, that would be great. We usually do this halfway through the stream, so I've kind of forgot about it. And yeah, so let us know in the chat where you're from.
Yeah, I know some people I saw Norway come up, and I know Wayne's World is from the UK.
Now I'm trying to find, we've got, yeah, Virginia. See, 2 Virginians. Norway. Wow. South Yorkshire. That's great. Amanda. Look at, did you see my puppy, you guys? He's like, he's sleeping. So
he's well behaved.
He's so well behaved. Oh, he's got himself all stretched out. So my daughter was going to London to see some of our family in Canada, and that had blown over. And she said, it's so hot. I don't know if it'll be good for the dog, you know? So here I am yesterday, dropping everything to drive to Bristol. And anybody that's from England, they know that from where I live, it should only be about a 40-minute drive. Well, the M5 was completely backed up. I mean, there was, we were going 12 miles an hour for something like 40 minutes. So when I got there, they were late for their train. They missed it, so they had to catch another one. But they said, thank God, because it has been so hot in England, you guys. And I'm sure South Yorkshire, are you getting the heat? Let us know. And we've got Knoxville, Tennessee, down the road from Neyland Stadium. Excellent. Oh, I bet you it's hot in Tennessee. I stayed in Tennessee a few times, and yeah, great. In fact, the place where I stayed in Tennessee, they had you each had your own little jacuzzis, and it was in the mountains. It was really nice. So, and we've got I love your puppy. He's my grand puppy. I don't know if you could see. He's like, I try to get him. If I would have been more organized, I could have done a what is it called? A puppy cam. Oh,
yeah,
yes.
It's like he's sleeping.
So we've got, it was 40 degrees in the car today. Oh my goodness. Yes, man. Yeah, I don't have air conditioning in my car either. Oh, are you playing something that it's making noise?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Wow, 104. That's like shocking. And you're saying you've got thunderstorms came around.
Thunderstorms today came through.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yes, very, very hot. Where are you from? Where's Angela's critters from? It was melting. Yeah, everybody loves a puppy. Yeah, he's a dash hound. Here, come and say hello, because here, let me see. Oh, you poor little baby. He had a back injury, so we've got to be very careful. But honest to God, a cat is bigger than him. Can you say hello to everybody? You're the star of the show. So, okay. So I think everybody in the chat is pretty darn, convinced that if any of this is true, then there's got to be a new trial.
Yeah, at least to make it fair. I mean, everybody wants a fair trial, not to be determined by one person.
I don't know. The expense. But I think if they're going to do a new trial, they have to sequester the jury. I think. And I thought as soon as the financial crimes were introduced, and from my understanding, the defense opened that up. I thought that was, I thought he's not, that's it. As soon as you heard about those financial crimes, and exactly, as much as the hate, he deserves a fair trial. Yeah, I mean,
as much as it,
yeah. But his financial crimes, and I mean, if you listen to, you can listen to some of his prison phone calls, and some of the ones that I've listened to, like he's obviously saying, you know, this is crazy. These, you know, they're trying to put every financial crime on me, and they know I didn't do half of it. And to me, what it sounded like is he was robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Sounds like it, yeah.
And those poor children that, you know, the Satterfields, you know, I think that, yeah, I think he was, yeah, robbing and putting them off and stuff. So, you know, I think just when you hurt people that you're close to, like these are people that you're supposed to.
Yeah.
I mean, I did a video where, because we had a police officer in England who murdered a young girl, and these are people that we're supposed to trust. So I think being an assistant county solicitor or whatever he was, I think that even made it worse. So that didn't make him a murderer. But and then the other allegation is that one of the jurors, I think it was the egg lady, she said, well, I'm not quite sure because, you know, where the guns, and then the clerk said, well, the guns will never be seen again.
Yeah, that's another thing right there.
You know, that's a bizarre, but then she didn't say anything to the judge when the judge talked to her. When they had like a little mini trial to find out about the Facebook page. But I think what happened there is that she didn't understand when she was talking about the Facebook stuff. I don't think she meant to say anything about the, you know, because if everybody's talking about it, she may not have thought it was wrong.
May not have, yeah.
What are you doing? Oh, look at that. He just fits sorry. I don't know how they will find 12 to 16 people that didn't watch the trial. And what about the Netflix document?
Oh yeah, I think
Here,
probably
Gene, I'm going to
everybody's
give
seen
you
this
full.
show.
Gene, I'm going to give you full screen.
Yeah, let me know in the comments or the chat if y'all have seen anything with this trial. Have y'all watched it? Have you followed it? Because I didn't know about it until all this came out with the clerk about what this trial is doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's I mean, nothing surprises me nowadays, but and I think what they were saying when they were talking, the defense team, is that people, like, they were getting people didn't want to, the jury people didn't want to talk to them, but as soon as the book came out, they thought, well, wait a minute, you know, and that kind of is believable as well, you know. But I just wonder, yeah, I mean, I think just the fact that she's written a book and the things that she said in there,
that to me is just I went too far on that one with her. Of course, I don't know. This is retrial.
I don't know, because we had police that in the Fred West, he wrote a book. So you know, people do that. Okay, so I think everybody's pretty much in agreement that yeah, oh yes, Patrice, I watched it closely, and the next trial will be the lady that you know, her child ran out and tried to get one of the neighbors to feed them, and what's that, is her name Ruby? I
don't know.
Yeah, it's a new one coming up. She was a famous YouTuber. She had something like 2 million people watching her show, and so, which is going to lead me nicely into I wonder if the clerk was worried that she would get away with it, like he had gotten away with so much. Oh, that's a, yeah. Ruby Frank, thank you. Yeah, so I think what I'm really happy about is that justice should be about a fair trial, right? And there should be no outside influence. And if there was 6 people, I mean, that's a pretty big statement. There were 6 people on the jury that were smokers, and they were told they couldn't smoke until they came to a decision. That I think is extremely worrying. And that she was going into the bathroom with some people. 8 passengers. What is this? I don't understand that one. Oh, I don't even know. So file 13 says, I have to be honest, I came to verify that there was actually someone with yellow shirt. Then it got extremely interesting. Well, I'm glad you guys thought it was interesting, because there's just so much to talk about, because I had prepared this, but then, like anything, and if there's any Canadians, I know that we had a Canadian in the house. Justin Trudeau's father, right? He was Prime Minister of Canada, and Pierre Trudeau, and he said, I've got one of his books, and he said, you know, it's better, before you say anything, you should wait. Yeah, because you never know what's going to happen. And there's so much. I mean, now the other jurors are now getting solicitors, like getting attorneys.
I think so. Yeah, I think they're getting solicitors. You're right.
Yeah, but I think it's the Satterfield attorney that they're getting. So that's quite, if I'm right, you know. So it's I just don't know. I mean, if I was the clerk, I would have said I can't be the clerk on this trial because you know
that's what they should have done. I thought.
Oh, we've got somebody from Arizona. I'd love to go to Arizona. I went to Vegas, but never went across to Arizona because it's quite close, isn't it, on the one part? So yeah. So let me go back to this. Ruby Frankie, the YouTuber. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I just want to go back to this because now, if I can show you, I am going live with Dr. Patrice Berry next Saturday. And we're going to talk about the tips. Put that back on again. We're going to talk about the tips for custody battles. And now she's got, I've been listening to Dr. Patrice Berry for some time now. And she really does. I just really think she has the way she thinks about parenting and it's just, you know, brilliant. And we're going to talk all about that because, yeah, parenting. So a lot of courts think that, you know, parenting should be up to the parent, and every parent will have a different style of parenting. But obviously, if you're, you know, if there's abuse or neglect, that's a different story. So, you know, that will be a really good conversation, and I'm really about that. Because there's just we just hear it so often. There's so many children being hurt, and you know, and I mean, obviously it's child abuse if Alex did kill his child, you know, obviously, and his ex-wife. So I think that will be a really good conversation, and I hope everybody joins me for that. And then I think Yellow Shirt Dad, we're going to try to do something, but we'll do it on your stream where you're
Yeah, we're
you're
doing it on
doing
my
the
stream.
controls because we're really new to YouTube and StreamYard, and it's been a bit of a challenge. And
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
a
but
big
that's
learning
great.
curve.
Yeah, I got to see how to, you know, go between the screens. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely, I just think it was really wrong of her to write that book.
Yeah.
She represented the court. She had inside information, and I, you know, recognize that she obviously would have had to get approval to write it, but it's so soon, and they haven't even finished their appeal yet, and that's the other thing. So the defense is appealing, but they can't have like 2 cases open at once. So that's why they've asked the appeals court to stay that motion until this court. But I don't think it should be the same trial judge either that decides, and I don't think it should be SLED. There's just too much going on. It needs to have it needs to be independent, I think. But yeah, I think if it happened to one of us or our families, we would feel the same way. So yeah, you have any final thoughts?
Oh, I just hope that, I guess there will be a retrial. I can only see it coming, and if it does happen, I hope that people learn from that and don't tamper with the jury. But at least give the man a fair trial.
Yeah, I was hoping Jean could come up with a joke still lurking, because that was one of the defense solicitors said that that the person that one of the jurors' solicitors or, you know, attorneys that took her affidavit, he was lurking so they could question him. So I think that's going to become a new word for the week. Since so many parents are interstate, you would be discussing the Child Custody Jurisdiction and Enforcement Act. Oh, will you? Yeah, I think the thing is, I think what we're going to talk about is tips. So we'll put out some more about that when we make the connection and stuff like that, because the laws are very similar in both countries. So you know, that will be really good. And we've got a happy weekend. And Joey, if you're still driving or working, thank you so much. And everybody else, thank you so much. I'm trying to share. So if you don't know what's going on, and you see somebody in the chat that you don't see in Jean's chat and you see it in mine, it's because we are sharing this live stream so that it goes to both of our channels. And what's really cool is that StreamYard allows you to have up to 10 people on. So yeah, it'd be really good to have more people and have a real nice conversation about all these things. Because obviously I'm not giving legal advice, but if you're on a jury, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that you are not supposed to speak to anybody about the case until you're in deliberations. So, and the judge says that every time. So, but then when you think about the egg lady getting kicked off the jury, maybe people were too scared to say something. And I mean, there's a lot of hate for Alec Murdoch. So Alec, whatever. So will they feel comfortable? But I hope justice wins in the end. Is there a link for your channel? Yeah. Dr. Patrice Berry, can you put a link in the chat for everybody? And you just go to your YouTube and then just copy and paste it in. We're not blocking. Yeah, so I'll give her a chance to do that, and Yellow Shirt Dad, can I play? And before we sign out, just for the people in my chat, should we try another screen share, because that's obviously good.
We could try it. I just know it's this echo all the time. We could try it. I just know it's this echo.
I think you can share it from yours. I'm pretty sure you can.
I don't know if I can or not.
I don't know if I can or not. Yeah, you just do the plus, share, present. Okay. So if I do this, if I get your channel up. And listen, people, I want to thank all the new subscribers. Yellow shirt.
Yeah, let me.
Because there's been lots of new subscribers. And I really want to thank that. And we'll do another StreamYard giveaway when I get to 800. And obviously we'll disclose, it has nothing to do with YouTube and nothing. You don't have to be a subscriber to play the game. Now, can you guys hear that?
I can hear it. I can hear it.
Fast, safe.
I can hear it. I can hear it.
Okay, wait.
Hey, everybody. I got the joke of the day.
Okay, wait. Okay, now, because I need to get rid of my...
Which channel did you have a link for?
Hello, everybody. It's Cinco de Mayo and it's Friday. Two good things in one day, and I'm going to bring you a third one because guess what? I got the joke of the day. I've got two for you on this Friday. First, I want to say thank you to all my subscribers, my new subscribers. Welcome to my channel. I hit 800. This would not be possible without everybody. Y'all make this possible. So I want to say thank you. Many blessings. God bless you. And let's get right into it. So, and you could use this one on Monday, kids, if you want. What did one textbook say to the other? Dude, we got a lot of problems. All right, yes, we got a lot of problems to solve here. But next, here we go. If towels could tell jokes, they'd have a dry sense of humor. Oh boy. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Again, thank you to all my subscribers. I'm so glad you're here.
I keep forgetting I can't talk because I've muted. There's his channel, so check it out, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you.
And yeah, I can show Patrice. Can I show it from there? See, now this is really weird because I was sharing the screen, but nobody could see it. So I think I played a whole joke and nobody heard it, right?
It was
like
coming in
quiet
and
for a
out.
long time? Pardon?
It was coming in and out.
It was coming in and out. Oh. Okay. So if I do this, Yeah. And then if I do this, let's see if I can find it. And then we'll end. Yeah. And then everybody will see, and then, okay, present. I'm getting used to this now. This is really good. Share screen. So here is, there. So there's Dr. Patrice Berry, and I'm sure she is a pro, people. So we won't have any of this nonsense that you have with me. I'll be able to sit back and take her, she'll be the leader. And yeah, she's got some amazing videos. So I hope you guys all check out her. And she's got a community page. So, you know, check out that. And yeah. So I hope everybody has enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to this stream. Yeah, I am too. A lot of the clients that I currently work with, I do a lot of family work. So it'll be really interesting for me from, you know, I have the court side of it. And Dr. Patrice has, like, we often go to a psychologist or a psychologist for reports. So it will be a fascinating stream.
Yeah, I'm going to tune in to that one.
Yeah. And keep those jokes coming.
Yep.
And don't forget to check out. And I just want, because I think because everybody has been so wonderful, I do really want to give Joeybklyn a shout out. And if you haven't seen his channel, because he works really hard for us all, bringing us so much. Now, why can't I find it? New tab. Okay. Can you find it quicker than me?
Which channel?
Joey.
Oh, Joey's.
Oh, I didn't have an L. Wait, maybe that's why. Geesh. Learn how to spell. I was like, what are you looking up?
It's Joeybklyn. I'm going to drop it in my chat if I can get it.
It's
Joeybklyn. I'm going to drop it in my chat if I can get it.
Oh, okay. That'll be great because he's working. So we don't want him to miss out when he's so good to us. But why can't I find it on YouTube? Do you have to type in YouTube? This is all new. I changed my browser, people, because I was getting so many jitters. And so hopefully, did you, so it's all just new to me, looking it up all this way. Oh, it's because you've got, got it. There. Okay. Okay, yes. See, now, this is where I know it's there. So, there's Joeybklyn's channel, and he does amazing, really relaxing videos. He's done if you haven't checked out Remembering Gabby Petito, that was an amazing video. And it was almost like the heavens aligned and there was like angel wings in the sky when he did that video right there. If you can see my cursor. So, okay. And I just thought that I would let everybody know that, because he had to go to work and we want to support people who have to work. What? On a Saturday. Ugh. And
Yeah, Saturday.
Sure New York is getting. And I'm not a content creator, but I love it when good YouTubers collaborate, supporting each other. Yes, I mean, I'm doing YouTube to bring information to people, okay, and build confidence in the justice system. And when I hear about things that aren't so just, I think we do have to speak out about it. But I do think it has to be fair, and we have to let the system run its course, right? And so, you know, I don't think we need to blame anybody, but I do think it's fine to talk about whether or not, you know, does a clerk have a right to write a book, right, Jean? Like you were.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would think. It'd be a conflict of interest, but maybe not.
Yeah. So,
or at least did she need to get permission from people to write about what they were doing?
Yeah. I mean, I think because in England we're not even allowed. I was called for jury duty last winter, and because, well, I don't know, but you have to write what you do. So when I said, you know, I'm a lawyer, help litigants in person, I was told that I wasn't needed. So they kind of vet people before you even get on. But I will do a video on, I want to do a video on people in England, because they've opened up people that can sit on a jury, and even police officers can sit on a jury. So,
oh, wow.
And if you're a solicitor or barrister and you can sit on a jury, that's no problem. But you're not allowed to look up anything on the internet, and you're only allowed to, you know, talk about the evidence that's presented, right? So, and that's only at the deliberation stage. So, but anyway, now Jean's been really quiet this time.
Yeah, well, it's got that echo. It's killing me. It's like I start to talk and I can hear myself.
Oh, maybe now someone in the chat, Dr.
Somebody mentioned earphones. I could do that next time.
Maybe that's what you need.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, we won't know until it plays back on YouTube. But other than just trying to find out where to share the screen, I thought it, because I've got to learn how to do that, because otherwise, you know, what's the point if we can't show what other channels are talking about? And you know, there's a lot of legal talk about it, you know, and you know what the affidavits say, because don't forget, in the UK we write like a witness statement, or, you know, really call them an affidavit, but we have to affirm that they're true under penalty of law as well. So what I'm concerned about is you can say one thing, and especially if a solicitor's written it, right? And it looks like these have been written by their attorneys. So as long as they can justify what they've said, but if all the other people say they didn't hear those things, given that they were in separate rooms, I don't know if that argument.
Yeah, still that baffles me how that happened.
Just the fact, just if they were in separate rooms, I really think then it doesn't matter if the other jurists say they didn't hear anything, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why that actually was able. They were able to do that.
Yeah. So, so anything interesting happening in Virginia?
Not much. I guess they've got thunderstorms come through the day, but other than that, I know they're putting in new regulations for football games, for high school football games.
Oh, okay.
I think some of the schools, you have to be over 18 or have a parent with you if you're under 18 to go watch a game.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, but what about all that rain?
Oh, it's still. I think it's still a little raining out there right now. Cooled everything off.
Okay.
At least for the moment.
Okay. Well, I think we're gonna sign off, aren't we? Because we've done a good, oh gosh, almost 2 hours. So thank you so much, Jean. And
okay, thanks, Karen.
It's just so hard to do these on your own until you kind of get used to what you're supposed to be doing.
Well, I'll do the next one. I can do that. I gotta get my things up here to get the. Yeah.
You got to get the practice in. We're just beginners, and we're trying to build a community. I'm trying to build a community of people who believe in justice. I don't particularly like talking, negative about the justice system. If we can find something positive, because there's always going to be a bad egg, whatever profession you're in. So I think once we have bad eggs, we should talk about the good ones so that we manifest good things, yeah. So, thank you, everybody. And, don't forget to check out
everybody.
Dr. Patrice and I. And, as always, we love to read your comments.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Jean.
All right. Thank you, Karen.
Don't forget to subscribe to Yellow Shirt Dad.
Yeah, and also to Karen too, with the legal-minded friends.
Yeah, I don't know why did our names not come up on these. I don't know. It's like our names didn't show up, which I thought.
I think
was
you have
weird.
to press a thing to that. I believe.
You have to see again. More learning. Okay, I'm sure most people aren't going to be watching this till the end. So,
well, everybody have a good weekend.
Thank you. There's the baby.